What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. What's up, everybody? It's been quite a while since I've been able to work on the truck and make a video. So I guess we'll just jump right into it and we'll just go over what I've done in the past week or so. So we finally got the garage cleaned up enough to get the truck flipped over 90 degrees so we can get the motor pulled out. Yeah, it's flipped. I started working on this week finally. Was trying to have this list on the truck over here done for Battle and Bama, which is started yesterday, and of course that didn't happen. I've been so busy at the shop I haven't even had a minute to work on this thing. So I don't know if I talked about it last video, but the block has been sent out to machine shop, all new cam bearings. It's been decked, it's been honed, it's been cleaned, all that. I painted it orange, and the motor mounts of course are already on there. Last week I gapped all the rings to 28 to 30 thousandths for the top ring and 28 thousandths for the bottom ring for boost later on down the road. So rings are gapped, all new rings on the pistons are cleaned up, and we just got everything kind of out here ready to go together. Today's goal is to get I guess just the long block put together, heads, cam, all of it, whatever we can do. I also need to finish up my sandblaster. I've got it on here. I've got little vibrating motors on it that everybody said you needed for the Harbor Freight one, and I've got lights put in it. So that finished that up. I think I just got a couple air lines on it and the sand to put in it. And then I need to build a booth for my powder coating gun that I got last year, so I can start powder coating some of the small stuff I have for this engine. Stuff like this will be powder coated black. Whatever little stuff I have, I don't even remember. It's been so long since I messed with it. The valve covers. But yeah, so stay tuned. We're gonna do a little engine build today. It'll probably be mostly a time lapse, but at least I'm finally getting a video made for the truck. Get the motor pulled out, get this one put in. I have the vintage air needs to go in. I'm gonna clean the frame. I just ordered from AMD. I'm finally gonna replace this rusty inner fender, the core support where it's rusted, so those will both be replaced. And I'm going to end up painting the whole engine bay too, so that'll look good. That'll finally be done. I mean, there's way more body work to go, but at least I'll get the two rusty things that are super noticeable out of the way. Get this 350 out of here and get it sold. All right, well, let's get started. guys, we got the bottom end together. I'm not going to bore you with torquing down all the connecting rods. The battery in the GoPro is about to die anyway, so I want to get that charged up, get this torqued and finished up, and then we'll get to putting the cam in it next.
Weeks later.
What's up, everybody? It's been a couple weeks since I started recording the last video with the engine rebuild, and what ended up happening after I got it all back together was the engine was really hard to turn over, so I ended up pulling all the pistons back out and I pulled the crank back out, and we ended up finding out in the old motor there was the thrust washers were destroyed and the crank had a lot of play, and it ended up rubbing on this first main cap and tapering it. So as soon as you took this loose, it would spin fine. As soon as you tightened it back down, it was really hard to spin. So now we had the whole thing back apart, sent it out to the machine shop. They line honed all the main bearings and just got it back together and torqued, and now it spins nice and easy again. So we're gonna end up putting the bottom, all the pistons back in it again, and I'll start recording again from there. So it'll probably... What's up, guys? It's the next day. Been working on the motor. I just put the cam in it. It's a BTR stage 3 truck cam. I've got the pistons in it. I broke one of these rings, so I have a replacement ring on the way, so I have to gap and get that put back in after. But yep, bottom end's pretty much done. Just going to slap the plate that goes here, probably do the timing and the oil pump, and that's all I'll be able to get to today. So here we go. Alright guys, well that's about all I can do for right now. We got this side of the block taped up. We're going to end up repainting this because, as you can see, when it went through the parts washer, all the loose stuff got knocked off again. But we got the cam done, timing chain and sprockets in. We pulled that one off, pressed a new one back on, oil pump is installed. This is just on here, so if it gets paint on it, I don't care. Tomorrow my ring should be here, and we'll replace the ring, get that last piston in there, flip it over, we'll do the oil pump pickup, put the pan on it with the gasket and all that, put the timing cover on it, tape this side, and then we'll paint the whole block. And I'm going to paint the pan orange too, I think I've decided. This will also be taped off where the water pump goes. And then this The block off plate that I got will be powder coated black, along with a black intake and the black valve covers and coil covers. So jump back on it again tomorrow. What's up, guys? We're back for like the third or fourth day, I think it is, on this LS rebuild. I mean, it's been like 3 weeks normal time, but this is my third or fourth day working on it. Just go over a little bit of what we've done not recording. We got the block touched up, freshly painted. The front cover is just sitting on there with a brand new seal. I got to go through and line these up and put the balancer in it to get it started. We got the oil pan painted and ready to go. So today's goal is to get this fully installed, the windage tray, the pickup with its little billet bracket to have 2 bolts holding it down, the rear cover and oil pan, and then hopefully the head studs. So let's go. Okay guys, so what I'm doing here is I got the crank or the harmonic balancer partially installed to get this centered up, and then what I'm going to do is take a straight edge across here to get these level, and then I will tighten this down. So I figured I would just stop and kind of tell you guys what I'm doing. Alright, so we got the front cover done. Use the straight edge here to make sure that this was straight across, this one's straight across. So now we're going to move to the back. Going to do the same thing. I just got to clean the crank up a little bit, install the rear main seal into the cover, and then install the cover with the gasket. Okay guys, so I went to put the rear cover on and I cannot do it because I had the little barbell removed to the original one, and I got a new one to put in it, and I can't put it in. And I thought maybe if I just loosened this one or took this one off and moved it out of the way, I could get it, but the motor immediately started to try to dip forward. So the rear main cover and this is just going to have to go on at the end, and hopefully I can get it pretty well lined up with the oil pan on it, which shouldn't be a big deal because if this is down, I should just have to push it up and tighten it. So we're going to go to installing the oil pan. Then we're going to flip it over, do the lifters and all that stuff. So finally. Alright, so I just did all that and just realized that I forgot to put RVT on the front seal where it meets to the block. So that's got to come back off. Not that it's a big deal, but I'm going to pull that back off. I need to put the seal or the RVT like right under here. And then, of course, once we get this back on, we'll have to double check and make sure everything is straight. But so that's going to come off. I'm not going to bore you guys with that again. We're going to install this piece here, which is going to be for basically for the Dakota Digitals. This is the oil pressure gauge or sender unit. So that goes on there. It's got an O-ring. It's got like 3 different spots on it. Of course, I'm only using the one for right now. But it just gets it out of the original spot behind the intake, and this just looks nicer, and it'll kind of clean it up and keep the wires down low, a little more hidden. So I'm going to install this. I'll pull the pan back off, and then we'll flip the motor in. Alright guys, so I'll show you what I'm working with here. We got the head studs in. Don't mind these, I realized that they were in upside down. But the head studs are in and tightened. I put these in upside down at first and quickly realized at the very last one that the threads were wrong, so I flipped them and they're now the right way. But with these, I didn't buy OEM because I didn't think they mattered, and I didn't like the way they felt even though I put them in there. So I went online and did a quick search because they felt loose in there to me, and apparently these aftermarket ones are not very good, and I don't like the amount of play in that. So a couple people I watched, you see they turn side to side just a little bit, and I don't want them to turn cockeyed. What's going on, everyone? We're back again. It only took 3 days, but we got the AC Delco lifter holders. I forget what they're called now, but the pieces that hold the lifters in. So as I dropped them across the whole garage, as you can probably see behind me, I got the motor pulled out yesterday. So there'll be a lot more to do in here. Inner fender's got to be changed out, and of course redo everything. I'm gonna sand paint the frame. The firewall is not much I can do with. I need a cab. That hole there I just drilled out is going to be where all the wiring for the Holly goes in. But there's the old 350 there. Somebody's coming to pick that up today. The transmission's in the back of my truck. It's shot, so I'm just gonna scrap it and get rid of it so it's not taking up room in here. But let's get this thing finished up. heads torque down. The torque sequence for these is 22 foot-pounds plus 90 for these three, and the bottom ones. These are 22 foot-pounds plus 90 plus 50 degrees, and then these top ones are just 22. So we got both of those done. So now we're going to install the push rods and the rockers. I'm still waiting for that bearing that came in. That company sent me the wrong thing in the package, so I'll have all of them but one done, and that's pretty much all we're going to be able to do on the engine until I get my powder coating stuff set up. I got to powder coat the valve covers, the delete valley cover, and that's about it for this until it goes into the truck, and then we can put the intake and the rest of it on. Alright guys, we got all the rockers put in. See, this one's missing. We're waiting for Michigan Motorsports to send me the replacement bearings for the other one that's really notchy. So now I've got to go through and get them all set, so I'm not really going to bother with recording that because it's going to be really repetitive. So I'll get back to you guys once this is done. Alright guys, we got all the rockers done, tightened down, and got everything else mocked up for how it's going to be when it's in the truck. So I'll let you guys see how it is. Don't know so far if I'm going to keep these coil covers. They look good from this angle, but I don't like that there's such a huge gap right here. Maybe once the wiring and stuff is in there it'll hide it, I don't know, but I'm not 100% on those yet. Oh, we got the fabricated intake, 102 millimeter throttle body. My motor didn't come with an intake, so I figured I'd just buy something a little nicer until I get to the LSA swaps. So I just did this eBay intake. It's powder coated flat black. These were supposed to match, but as you can tell, they have quite a bit of a shine to them. So if I do use these are going to get powder coated. But I think that's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching. I know it's probably going to be a long one, but this was a long process. First LS I've ever built, and it was kind of a bunch of problems at first. I messed up on a few things, had to redo them, so it's finally done. And stay tuned for other videos, because soon we're going to start working on this. And we got to do, what I said earlier, the frame, the vintage air is going to be going in. So all that'll be gone. The wiring, I want to buy the American Auto wire and redo the whole truck. Don't know 100% if that's happening yet. My makeshift battery box should be here today, which is a vintage cooler from the 60s that we're gonna mount in the bed and put the battery in the bed, and then run 1/0 cable all the way to the front, 4-gauge cable from the alternator, and we'll be doing videos on all that. So next video will probably be the cooler battery box setup, which will be a little short one, but stay tuned. Hopefully I have some more videos out here soon. See you.